one cell, and they're found almost everywhere on Earth. That viruses hijack cells because they can't reproduce on their own, and our immune system can eliminate most bacteria and viruses. I'm Dr. Jeff, and today we're learning about bacteria and viruses. Adam, Caroline, have you seen bacteria before?
No, I thought they're too small to see.
Too small for our eyes, but with a special microscope that can magnify things 1,000 times, we can see them. Take a look.
Whoa, they're so tiny.
Wait, let me see. Cool.
What kind of bacteria are these?
Those are E. coli bacteria.
Isn't that dangerous?
Some kinds of E. coli can be harmful, but this kind is totally harmless. In fact, harmless bacteria are everywhere. There's millions of bacteria inside this beaker of regular water, and billions inside just one scoop of dirt. And there's trillions of bacteria inside our own bodies.
What? Not in my body.
They live in your stomach, on your skin, and almost everywhere else too. In fact, about 30% of your own poop is actually living and dead bacteria.
That's gross.
It's awesome. Bacteria are single-celled living things that can be found almost anywhere on the planet. Here are bacteria cells compared to animal cells.
Wow, the bacteria cells are so much smaller.
About 100 times smaller.
No wonder you need a special microscope to see them.
Also, it looks like the animal cell has a nucleus where the DNA is stored.
And DNA is the genetic material needed to make new cells.
That's right. In plant and animal cells, DNA is stored in a nucleus. Bacteria don't have a nucleus, so their DNA just floats around in the cell. You probably know that some kinds of bacteria can make us sick, but other kinds of bacteria can be very helpful. What do all these things have in common? Thanks, Eddie.
Cheese, sauerkraut, yogurt? Dr. Jeff, I think you brought the wrong samples.
No, they are the right samples. All these foods are made using bacteria. For example, cheese is made when bacteria break down milk. Bacteria are also responsible for the sour taste in sauerkraut. And bacteria also help us make yogurt. Now that we know a little bit about bacteria, let's see how they grow. This is called a petri dish. It contains a jelly that bacteria like to eat. If we rub just a few bacteria cells on the surface, we should be able to see them grow.
So if bacteria is everywhere, can we just collect samples from different areas in the lab?
That is a great idea. Let's use some clean swabs to rub different surfaces in the lab. Then we can transfer any bacteria on the swab to the petri dish like this. Simple. Then label it, tape it shut, and dispose of the swab in the bleach. Got it?
Let's do it.
Here we go. Great job. Now let's put these petri dishes into the incubator, keep them warm, and we'll check on them in just a few days.
Amazing. Bacteria really are everywhere.
What makes these little dots?
Those are called bacteria colonies. They form because bacteria make more of themselves by copying their DNA and then splitting in half.
So it's like they're cloning themselves?
That's exactly what it is. Some bacteria, like E. coli, can split every 20 minutes, again and again and again. And then they become millions over just one day.
Each of these dots is actually millions of bacteria.
But I wonder if any of these are the dangerous kind.
We don't want to find out, so we're gonna keep these tapes shut and dispose of them properly. As you know, some bacteria can be dangerous, like these.
Oh, look at those those cute little bacteria.
Here you go. Go ahead and read the labels.
This one represents Borrelia burgdorferi, the bacteria that causes Lyme disease. It is carried by ticks and then given to humans, and it gives people rashes and a fever?
Oh, this little guy is Streptococcus pyogenes. It's the bacteria that causes flesh-eating disease. It ruins human flesh, and it often requires amputation. Yikes.
And I have Salmonella typhimurium, a bacteria that causes salmonella. It gives you food poisoning and some nasty diarrhea.
Ew. How do people avoid these bad bacteria?
To answer that, let's learn about how bacteria spread. To represent bacteria, I'm covering my hands with a special liquid that can glow under ultraviolet light. Take a look at our hands. Mine are glowing and yours are not. Now let's turn the lights back on and shake hands.
I don't see anything on my hands.
Let's try it with the ultraviolet light.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Touching is a common way bacteria spread from person to person.
This definitely shows that we need to wash our hands, especially when we're around someone sick.
Exactly. And if you do get sick, we can kill most bacteria with antibiotics.
When I go to the doctor and I'm sick, I almost never get antibiotics.
That's because antibiotics only kill bacteria. They don't have any effect on viruses, which cause most colds and flus. A virus is a tiny piece of genetic material, like DNA or RNA, surrounded by a protective shell.
That's it? How does it move?
Interestingly, it doesn't move on its own. They also don't eat anything.
But wait, I thought you said that all cells take in nutrients, reproduce, and have genetic material.
So, by that definition, a virus isn't even alive.
You both make great points. It's actually a classification problem scientists have wondered about for a long time. Viruses don't eat, they don't drink, they can't even reproduce on their own. That's why viruses hijack cells to make more copies of themselves. Lucky for us, most viruses on Earth only infect and kill bacteria. Those viruses look like this.
That's a virus? It looks like a lunar lander.
This kind of virus lands on a bacteria cell and injects its genetic material inside. Then, this cell will use the virus's genetic material to make more copies of itself. Once the new viruses build up, they burst out of the cell, killing it. And then those new viruses go on to infect more cells.
So what kind of viruses can infect human cells?
The most well-known are viruses that cause colds and flus. They usually have a round and spiky shape, but they work in the same way. They float around until they touch a cell. Then they transfer their genetic material inside, where more copies are made.
Then the viruses burst out of the cell and infect more cells.
That's right. The thing about viruses is they can spread fast. Have you heard of going viral?
Yeah, like a viral video?
Exactly like that. The word viral comes from the way viruses spread fast. Let's imagine one person is infected by a virus, and that person infects 5 other people by coughing, touching, or sneezing.
And then the next day, those 5 people give it to another 5 people each, making 25.
Which each give it to another 5 people each to become 125, then 625, 3,125, 15,625, 78,125, 390,625, and then it's over 1 million.
This is what happens when something goes viral. Just like if everyone shared your video with 5 friends each, it gets millions of views in just a few days. Viruses can spread the same way. In fact, they were going viral before videos even existed.
So that's like what happened with the coronavirus that caused COVID-19. It started with just one person and then spread around the world to millions of people.
Yes, one of the reasons it went viral is because the virus that causes COVID-19 infects cells in the lungs. Each time you cough or even speak, tiny droplets of liquid that carry the virus are launched out of your mouth. They fly through the air and can land on other people.
So that's why when a virus breaks out, people should stay home when they're sick so that they don't infect others. They should also wash their hands, not touch their face, and cough into their elbows so that they don't get it on their hands.
Exactly. Those precautions help slow the spread.
And thanks to our immune system, our body can fight off nearly every bacterial and viral infection.
Yes, the immune system is a body system made of specialized cells that circulate in your blood. They look for intruders like viruses and bacteria. And then they tell other cells in the immune system to fight them off.
And once we win the fight, instructions on how to beat the intruders in the future are stored in the cells.
And knowing this, scientists have learned how to create vaccines, which train the body to identify and kill invaders before they attack.
So understanding viruses and bacteria can literally save lives. Let's explore the kinds of careers you can have studying them.
A microbiologist is a type of scientist that studies microscopic organisms like bacteria. Studying bacteria can help scientists develop new antibiotics. A famous antibiotic called penicillin is naturally made by fungi and used to kill bacteria. A microbiologist discovered this, and we now use penicillin to treat bacterial infections. Bacteria can also be used to produce fuels for cars. When bacteria eat sugar, they can produce alcohols, which could one day be put into cars and burned as renewable fuel. The scientists that study viruses are called virologists. When they study viruses that infect humans, they may have to take extra precautions to avoid infection by wearing protective suits. Virologists help us understand how viruses work so we can figure out how to stop them from infecting humans. For example, if we can understand the protein spikes on the virus's surface, we could make medicines to attach to them and block the virus from entering cells. These are just two of the many important careers that make the world a better place by studying bacteria and viruses.
Today, I'll show you how to grow mold, which is another type of microorganism. Today's lesson focused on bacteria and viruses, but there's another category of microbes that we didn't have time for. Fungi. Things like yeast, mushrooms, and mold. For this activity, you will need 2 slices of bread, 2 sealable plastic bags, tape, a marker, a spray bottle of water, and adult supervision. First, spray 3 squirts of water on each slice of bread. Then, with your marker, write cool on one bag, and on the other, write warm. Next, add your bread. Now, close the bags and tape the seals airtight. Don't open it again, even after you finish the project. Put the bag labeled cool in the fridge, and put the other bag somewhere warm and dark, like a kitchen cupboard. After the week is over, they will look like this. Here is the one that was not refrigerated. Look at all that mold. Ugh. And here is the one that was in the fridge. Nothing. This shows how cold temperatures slow the growth of microbes. That's why we have refrigerators. Things last longer in the fridge because bacteria and fungi grow slower in the cold. And remember, keep the bag sealed and throw the whole thing away. Try it yourself.
Thanks, Adam. Now let's review.
Today, we learned that bacteria are single-celled living things found almost everywhere on Earth.
Viruses cannot reproduce on their own, so they hijack cells to make more of themselves.
And humans have a body system called the immune system to fight off viruses and bacteria.
Join us next time on the Lab Report. I'm Dr. Jeff.
I'm Adam.
I'm Caroline.
And remember, always question, always wonder.